circulation, how many discussions are we gonna have?
Flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for me. Yeah,
I didn't change it. I made my own things. Okay. Joyce, roll call.
Mayor Caucus. Mr. Caucus.
Here.
Mrs. Passio. Here. Mrs. Moore. Here. Mr. Powell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly. Here. Mr. Root.
He has another engagement. He's representing the town.
Mr. Wood.
Here.
Mr. Bayshore. Here. And Mr. Ray.
I think he'll be.
Please,
Statement, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerks in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2014. And two, emailed to the retrospect and current post on January 6, 2014. New business. We're going to skip the agenda and go to a different agenda.
Now, why did
You know, for taking notes. One thing that we had to take, there was some consideration of the Public Safety Committee. We have a resignation that we're going to be accepting from our current municipal alliance coordinator. I don't know if everybody's aware of that. So we need to appoint somebody else as the municipal alliance coordinator. We spoke to the police department, we spoke to the schools because they're actively involved in the municipal alliance. We have, I call it an application, but we have a woman who's a Runnemede resident who lives, I'm not sure exactly where she lives, but she lives over by the high school. She works for Trenton High School. She's been there for 11 years. She's the assistant to the principal. And the idea is this would help us to get some of these programs done, and I'll just read what she just sent a little email. She goes, my name is Nancy Anderson, is her name. I'm currently a resident at Runnemede. I'm employed at the Triton Regional High School for the past 11 years. I've held many positions in the school, secretary of the study team, secretary, vice principals, secretary, currently the principal secretary. And she's very interested in helping out with municipal alliance coordinator. She understands the grant writing because of what has to happen when the school does it. She's already familiar with the officers in the schools, so I think there'll be a good relationship there. So as long as anybody, it's really a very benign type of position. It's somebody we need to represent us to make sure this municipal, somebody has to show up to these meetings, somebody has to go to the training,
And fill out a little report.
and fill out all the report. They gotta say how many kids showed up, who was there. And the state is asking for all this stuff, and that's the problem. A lot of towns are saying that people are resigning from these positions because no one wants to go spend 8 hours in Trenton twice a year to get certified.
And then,
You have to go to school.
Yeah. So the principal is willing to allow her to do this. They understand that it'll help the school. So are there any questions for this? We could appoint her.
Or should we decide on a stipend?
She's not. She'll come Tuesday night.
What's her name?
What
Her name
about
is
stipend?
Nancy, the same stipend that we were given the previous one. I want to say it's $100 a month. I think, you know,
That's not.
yeah. And her son, SOS.
That's a win.
And,
Okay, good.
okay, once again, like I said, I think it's something we have to do at the beginning of the year. We have to get
Absolutely.
it. So that resolves that issue.
Everybody's in agreement with that.
Okay, I'm going to bounce around a little bit to get us to it hopefully quickly. Okay. Discussion of public hearing for the ordinance amending the personnel ordinance amending EMS. What that is what was introduced last month. Is that correct, Joyce? That was our last month?
Vacation holiday is the first one. The EMS is the $750 for the transportation, and the ordinance regulating clothing bins was,
I think
they're
we're
all
all
introduced.
They're all introduced, and we have, so
We're
it
all
shouldn't be a big
advertised.
deal. There was some concern, Mr. Root was concerned that when we send this bill, that some people don't understand what insurance is supposed to pay for it. But the Public Safety Committee had a conversation about it, we thought it was okay. The EMS is not as profitable, if not right. The revenues have dropped. And one of the reasons is we think that, you know, we're losing out a little bit on some revenue. We should be a little bit higher, $50 for the ride extra. We don't know if we're going to get it. We're going to try to bill a little bit harder on people.
We're running about $10,000 less than last year.
I think that was the number. regular
So what's our charge now for?
700 versus 750, but remember, the insurance companies pay a percentage and things like that, Medicare and all of that.
Excuse me, my only question is this. Are you going back for the residents for the money or the insurance companies? I want to know,
Yeah.
they're older people.
The way the billing is done is there is definitely consideration. Those who have insurance or have Medicare, they're pretty much taken care of. Those who don't have anything like that, and they're Runnemede residents, we tend to do, we do soft billing because
I know that.
we do it with, well, you remember, Belmar, we all have a mutual agreement not to really, try to be compensated something and things like that. But we're doing much better, we've always done very well. It's just, we're trying to provide a better service. The extra coverage is costing us more money.
And there's the personnel one, that we changed the vacation.
That was all your stuff, that kind of, nice civil
I have a
service.
little checklist of things to make sure that we're
Yes,
getting to the
and
next.
that's the civil service, the code of ordinance, I think it's a good start. It gives us the ability to pull some of these out that are in dangerous areas, that are in site triangles. We had nothing.
Are you okay with it?
I'm waiting for it. For the thing?
Yeah, but we covered the things that you.
I think so, the only, well, yeah, but my only question was, is there a way to put a limitation on the size of the property? I mean, like the Acme houses a lot, and that's not a problem because they have the square footage, they have that gigantic parking lot that doesn't interfere.
I know what you're saying.
Right, so when you have
So
a
you
gas
wanna
station that's
say-
on a tiny little
So you
footprint,
want something that says that you,
it needs to be a
for
qualification, because
for each bid that you want to put, you need a minimum of X square feet.
that's just my suggestion, and I did discuss that with you, because I do think that holds the people that will go, well, I've had it all this time, like, what's the big deal? Why is it a problem now?
Well, in the ordinance, it does allow it, you wrote, it's in the parking lot, right there, you can make a movement, because you can't take
Right.
over a parking space.
But there are
Borough
some-
moved ours
There are
because,
some that are not in a parking lot, and they're on a slab of grass next to a building, or they're pushing. So my thing is by saying, you need to be X amount of square footage, that also puts, like, as a secondary thing, but it's
Well,
not in a site
because we can
triangle or
amend it
anything.
next week before. we
I
do
just
it.
think that helps to.
well, my notes were more limitations on lot size.
Right,
But,
You need to give me
The
what
same-
that is.
and that's, yeah.
and that's tough because,
You may want to talk to
Did
your.
did anybody check any other towns and see how they are for this?
We have, and that's a lot of what we have is based on what other towns have, but
Yes.
that, my,
Anybody measure to see how much distance or what they have, what?
I would let's talk to the zoning guy.
I'm just
And
curious.
get his
no,
thoughts.
I think, not to
That's
my
what I would
knowledge,
consider.
on that, no.
Maybe talk to the zoning guy and say, what do you think would be a reasonable minimum size for a lot for a clothing bid? And then the next question is, so I'm gonna make something up, I have no idea what it means, 10,000 square feet for a bid, and then X number of square feet for each additional, not 10,000 necessarily. So I think the zoning guy might have a better handle on what's
Maybe we
reasonable.
can imagine-
Better than what I would know would be a reasonable size.
well, because, I'll tell you what my hesitation, I know it sounds like, we need to get something done, and I don't want to
understand that.
make, to get the perfect, sometimes
Right.
take too
Well,
long.
we've also
I'll
been
say-
kicking this around for almost 2 years, so
Yeah.
I don't think that another meeting or two is really gonna make a big difference.
Mark, I think interferes with vehicular or pedestrian circulation. That was kind of the idea, that if it was impeding traffic, that gave the zoning officer a little bit of teeth. You say, let's run it, sitting right on the corner. Or in a parking lot, right there, they're not allowed, you can say they're not allowed in the parking lot if you felt that the parking lot was too small.
And did we make it applicable for now, or did we make it applicable for 50?
It starts there.
All right, so it's probably like 60 or 90 days or something. So let me just throw this at the thoughts, okay? Maybe consider, just think about leaving it alone to get it until we have something. And then let's look to amend it
Okay.
for 1/1/15, give you time to talk to the zoning guy. see
Gives
what
us
his
6
thoughts
months
are.
to,
See where the little nooks and crannies have to be, just a thought.
I do have it.
Okay.
yeah, and I think that what we can
And
do
that was
is,
my point that I
And
mentioned.
you'll
to
let me know
you
what
was
the
that my
thoughts are, and then
concern
I can draft.
You know, a place like the Acme, or a place like a Target, or a huge place, has the ability to say they're in this little area here, and it's fine, it's not interfering with the parking, because the parking lot's not
I
full.
think it's a very legitimate concern, it's just that it's difficult to define, and I think we need some people who aren't me, because I don't know how to define it. I can write it once you tell me.
I get it.
and we moved the ones immediately because Mark
So-
noted that the ones that were on our property were impeding vehicle traffic. So now, but Mark brought up another good point.
For that.
If we start taking apart even these large properties that we think have adequate parking, we need to be cautious that, and I think the ordinance clarifies that, you know, if they have 100 parking spaces, they can't give up 10 to us, or 10 to a bid.
Right,
Because now they have 90, now they're violating their site plan approval.
that's exactly right.
So that was a consideration.
Well, where they're put at the Acme is not in a parking
But
area.
Mark's point was, if Acme, when they built the building, and they were required
But our
200
code
spots.
guy's gonna do this, right?
Yes.
So he,
But,
as long as he
you're
does
missing my
that.
point, where those bins are not in spots. They're not.
They're not parking spots?
They're not, they're up against a section, they're not in a
They're not
parking
even in
spot.
the parking lot.
They're not in a parking spot.
That's a parking lot, isn't it?
It is a parking lot, but that particular section is not striped,
Yes.
it's never been striped.
It's towards
It's
the
never
woods.
been, right, it's
So
never
it's
been.
not,
I
so
go
it's
by
not a
it.
parking space.
Yeah. They're right.
But once again, does it impede
No.
vehicular
That's the
traffic?
second issue, yes.
Second issue is vehicular, and then the other issue is if it takes up parking, that would be used for
So
something.
against a curb line, and there's like bushes and stuff, so no, I would say no. That's,
So,
So we're okay.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
well, we will get back on the schedule again, so if everyone, clothing ban ordinance, I like the idea of getting something, and then gives us 6 months to.
Yeah, we could always amend it and make the amendments effective for 1/1/15 and get it under your belt for a couple months and see. Because you'll see things, just like, geez, we didn't think of that. So-
And that's happening. Discussion of residency ordinance. Public Safety Committee also met, and the Personnel Committee met about this. I don't know if Public Safety Committee went over residency. Okay. I just want to open it up for discussion, just to make everything clear for everyone. We are now civil service town since 2009. That we believe the civil service allowed us to, like almost as a default, when we were given our first list, they were Runnemede-based list, meaning that when we were looking to hire a police officer, the list we got was from Runnemede. It's been brought to our attention that the borough does not have an ordinance that says we are required to only have a list from Runnemede. So we're at a point right now where we have to hire another police officer, at least one, if not 2 officers, to make up for the retirement of the chief and the resignation that we're accepting. We've already accepted, I guess. It happens this week. So does anybody have any, before I don't want to dictate the conversation, how does everybody, can I just do a quick poll? Does anybody have any opinion on resident versus non-resident?
So if we
Or questions
say,
first?
okay, fine, then we're choosing strictly from Runnemede before anything else.
Yes.
Right, they give priority.
Absolutely, I say no
Fine.
to that.
I say no.
I say no. Why would you limit yourself? Why would you say, you have 100 candidates, let's say 100 candidates, and the 4 from Runnemede came out at the bottom of the list, but we're going to limit ourselves to pick those people just because they're from Runnemede? That seems.
It's an interesting thing, that's what we started talking about.
That seems
the way I
limiting.
feel.
And let me just make it clear.
I
that
say no too.
Really, okay, the Runnemede, the residency rule it's only for 1 year. So even the person could live here for 1 year and they move out anyway, so
And
it's
we've
not
done
even.
well with picking the ones that we've picked so far that are from Runnemede, that want to be here, and then they turn around and quit and leave. So I would say, by past track record.
Move out of
no.
town.
No.
Well, we've had one move out of town and one quit.
Exactly, so I would say no.
Patty, I know this is a tough one.
Yeah, we discussed this at length with.
Well, basically, we were gonna go with the
Yeah,
residency.
we were going to.
But then all of a sudden, this funky wrench came in, you think about it
Yeah, I don't know,
differently.
like, what changed it, what.
I think what
we
changed it
wouldn't
was
hear-
when we got a sneak peek of the list of the applicants that were from Runnemede. On the list from Runnemede, there were 1 through 11. But then the state, in their wisdom, gave us what they would be throughout the state. And all of a sudden, you're seeing our number 1 guy might be number 600. And you're thinking there's 599 guys before this guy. And the idea, people.
Thank you.
And I think the point is, you know, the town went civil service for a reason. They thought that it would take hiring out of political hands, nepotism, cronyism, all the things, soliism.
Should we fix that with nepotism?
Of course, we're going to fix it with nepotism.
Bring that on.
Which I think we have. But that's where we're at. And the Public Safety Committee, I think at first was leaning towards it, but I think it's in personnel, we started to think about what you're bringing up, why are we limiting ourselves? And if a guy from Runnemede is the best, he's going to show up on the list. But if a guy's from Belmar, if a guy's from Gloucester Township. Now let me just say one more point about this. And Rich, tell me if I'm right. If we just, right now, we are desperate to hire another police officer. If we simply say to this evening that we're not going to move forward, we're going to stay with the current situation where do not have a residency list, Mr. Wright can call civil service tomorrow, and it takes them about a week or so to send us a list, which
Then we
means,
have 45 days to act.
and then we have 45 days at that point to let the police go through that list. And we could pick, 50, 100 names to go through that. Now, it doesn't stop us from looking at a rights list or looking at an intergovernmental transfer. We still have that option too. But at least if we were going to do the residency, you're talking about a minimum of 60 days for us to introduce an ordinance, have first reading, have second reading. We're 60 to 90 days out.
And then have an effective date.
Yeah.
And then have it effective.
And it's just a question, and it's on the police, civil service. But any job in the borough hall would have to be civil service. I'm questioning this.
We are a civil service community. Everything is civil service except for classified versus unclassified positions. So the unclassified is when the public works department needs a laborer. They can simply hire a laborer because it's unclassified.
Okay, I just question it.
Am I saying this correct?
You are.
In the office or whatever, if they're.
Well, the personnel in the office,
Say, that's a
Are
question.
all civil service.
they were civil service, and certain titles would be required to have
And that would be the
tests,
officers in the borough.
but they'd have to have tests. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Well, uniform against non-uniform.
No,
This would be
no,
a
no.
uniform residency.
But am I right to say
Residency or
also?
refer to civil
This
service
would be a
because
uniform residency. If we required, it would be for uniform.
Well, you could do
Correct.
both. Or
Oh,
neither.
no,
You can do
but-
one,
but-
one or
but-
both.
but-
We would
that's
keep
why
it
I was
uniform.
worried. I was worried about the civil
That's
service.
right.
Not for me, I'm leaving,
Right.
so, but I'm worried about.
I think we should always hire the best person. And I-
I agree. I agree. I agree.
We do want to hire
And if we do residency, we do limit our pool.
Okay.
That's right, that's what I'm.
Well, what we'll do then is after tomorrow or this week, we'll talk to Mr. White about getting at least a list from the state, because we intend to hire somebody. We have to replace Mr. Cochran. We have to decide what we're going to do about Mr. Diano. I think we got to get into this. Okay, that takes care of that. So the next thing was the discussion of the resignation of the police officer. That kind of goes together. We'll accept his resignation. Discussion of resolution refunding construction fees. The choice, that's not been paid, right? Or somebody we just overpaid? Or they
No, some reason, I'm not quite sure what the reason is. June gave it to me, and because we have to issue a check from our account, we have to do a resolution. I have the paperwork
Do
somewhere.
you want to go through the next three? They're all you, I think.
Good, because I want to know what a blue light permit is.
Yeah.
The mayor has to sign off on issuing those blue light permits for on top of the cars. You know, the people that come down the
It's
street.
actually something practical, like a blue light. Okay.
I don't know how practical it is, but we have to sign off on that.
Gotcha.
So we just need authorization for the mayor to sign
Okay.
that. And the next is something we do every year. This is where we allow the state to give us an X amount of money to do the inspections. Are these the elevator inspections?
Well, this is the
Housing,
apartments?
excuse me,
This is
the
the
housing
apartments?
inspections. The mayor just has to sign this
Yeah,
every
have to
year.
sign it.
So we have to
And
do a
they give us, we get $2,800 towards that.
Okay.
What's the next
Well,
one?
the last one I think is more of a letter. You're aware of this one? Planning board's asking for us to put a definition in our land use
Please
ordinance.
call me a regular letter.
He did.
Is that
He sent it to
okay?
me. Yes.
I mean, I think it's what we've been saying.
It's what we've been saying, and it clarifies what something.
It clarifies the issue. It would be a definition at the beginning of our ordinance saying that property with two front,
Well, this is all, this he
corner
lives
property would have two front yards. Correct?
He lives at the residential.
You live in the residential? Do you think that's right? Isn't it commercial property?
I think, my personal opinion, you care about my personal opinion?
Yes, I do.
Is that corner property is corner property.
Regardless, it's
Regardless.
industrial, commercial.
Right, and each zone has rules for front yards and side yards, and they are what they are, and why should we just limit it to
I think we'll
residential?
run into a problem in the future
Well, we
again.
could, and it would be a larger problem in a
Industrial.
non-residential site, because you're talking about potentially longer, longer yard lines, which means you could have longer and bigger blocking of your site triangles, et cetera. So that's the only thing I thought.
Can we
In
do
the
a,
case of a corner lot,
in case of a corner lot in any zone?
in any zone.
Well, let's amend that. We'll put that on the agenda for,
Who is doing the ordinance?
well, would it be an amendment to the existing ordinance or just the
Yeah,
definitions?
I don't know if we have to send it back to them for hearings. No, okay. That way, it's just, we're amending the existing ordinance. In case of a corner lot located within any district representative. The only way we're going to take out is for the district.
So will you be handling that amendment, the amendment? I'm not sure where that should go in the ordinance.
Yes, I'll try to figure that out between now and next week.
Should only write definitions, all
Do
right?
you have a copy, you have a copy of this letter?
I have a copy of the letter.
I think one of their concerns was there were parts of the ordinance currently that contradict itself.
Yeah.
And I think Carmen was saying by putting in the definitions, it we put at the beginning, even though it was conflicting,
Well, I'm gonna.
even though we should go in there and clean that other stuff out.
I'm just gonna cheat. I'm gonna call Dave and say, where would you like us to put this?
Yeah.
They're the ones that have to deal with it, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna take the shortcut.
All right.
The chief's salary.
We're gonna do that in a closed section.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go through things that just were on my mind, even though it touches on everybody's department, so if anybody wants to jump in. First one I was gonna jump on is engineering. I know you've got a bunch, and I'm gonna ask questions, and then this is how we'll do this to get through it. Mark and Bob, obviously, I'm gonna run down the list, and you can tell us what you know about it. Obviously, the front door repair and the side door repair. Washington Avenue, Irish Hill Road. We talked about the AC vents on the second floor. Payne Avenue, bathroom door closers, emergency light covers down at the bathrooms at Green Acres, and the pump fence, but I don't know what that means. Oh, pump fence.
Around.
Okay, so anybody, I mean, I know that's what, it covers a lot of different people, I
Yeah, I
think.
know it does, but what about the tech that's supposed to straighten out the monitor?
Yes.
I was gonna have that under police.
Oh.
This was just engineering. I knew they all cross paths. What are we doing? Mark, you wanna take most of these, or?
Yeah.
Mark's gotta leave at 7:20, so.
Shake that off, Mark.
Shake that off. I think it's-
Front door here and side door, they submitted the shop drawings, we're going through a process. We have trouble getting in contact with Mr. Walker, his voicemail is full, both his cell phone and his office phone.
We will call him after we leave this meeting.
We're trying to coordinate that. He sent me an email today asking what the status was. I said, we've been trying to contact you, please call such and such, and had a cell phone number, and we haven't heard back.
Okay.
So we're just trying to get shop drawings.
Final shop drawing so we can start on the process. Is that what you understand?
No, I have a question.
Yes.
He was approved, right? And how much time does he have to get this done?
Since this was just quotes, we don't have a.
It's not a formal
We don't have a
Contract.
formal bid, it has contracts and everything, it's just a quote.
You're just overseeing the project for us.
Right. The bathroom doors down Green Acres, the style we requested exceeds the ADA requirement for an open force, so we're looking to take out
It's too heavy.
it's too much force to push open.
So
So,
we haven't heard of it. We're still on the same
It's
process.
too-
so we're looking to change out the cylinder, so that's just a process.
Because we did have the alarm go off one night, and I think that's because the door's not closing all the way.
So it's, the one we have is like 20-some pounds, we only have 5 pounds of force to open an ADA door. So we're looking to change out the cylinder, so it's a problem. What we approved wasn't ADA compliant, so now we have to do the switch out of that. The 2 road programs, we have the plans complete now for Irish Hill. I still have to get there with Josiano, just to make sure now we're on the same page. I'm also trying to coordinate with American Water and the fire chief on that.
My opinion about that is it's been delaying this too long, and from little information that you've given and we've all talked about, they're not gonna bring more water up Irish Hill Road.
But when you have the plans, I can go and say, these are our plans, they want to run a parallel line right there.
There was a concern that the fire hydrant in maybe wasn't enough power. The problem is, there's no place for them to bring more water, and I think that everyone kind of knew that, and it's been a couple months. What's that? What do you think? You just don't want to meet with water?
Yeah, we'll do a shot. I'm gonna get, Joe, now we have.
I mean, the summer is,
Washington,
It's taking too long, everything's taking too long. Just say-
everything's, you're right, I have a different attitude right now. Washington's taking too long.
Avenue, we have a survey done, we started grading plan right now. I have issues with some trees. There's 2 large trees that are affecting the curbs, that's the same tree.
Yeah.
But it's uprooting curves. In the past, on 11th Avenue, we just took the trees out.
We did take it.
It's affecting the integrity of the road. I just don't want to do that without getting consent of everybody because.
It's an expense, yes.
Well, it's an expense that's covered by.
But it's cheaper now than later.
But
I think what we did on 11th, though, we replaced some of the trees and some we didn't.
it was done by the borough, not by the contractor. We took it, we just had the tree removal as part of the contract. And then if you got trees and you want to plant them.
Yeah, that was 11th, I don't know if you remember, 11th had some big trees.
So,
I mean, trees have to be replaced, I mean, we don't have an ordinance that says you can't take a tree down.
right, and it's in the borough right away, so you have that, but it just becomes a little bit of a political,
They're big trees.
taking trees down.
Taking it all, that's your tree down.
Yes,
Killer?
yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, that's what I'm talking
Sure,
about.
I don't know if our guys
Seriously,
are.
but,
No,
And not on this
not on
side.
this side's tree.
well, that's an issue.
I mean, I think, I don't know, I mean, if you met, I think it's slow down.
I said, we're going to go out and look at it, I said,
I think it's easier to take it down and plant 2 trees. If it's barrel, plant them right, plant them further back.
Oh, just trees.
Or trees that
They
don't
don't
grow
grow
to,
this large.
Root problem.
the roots, the old maples, is that a maple that the root comes up?
Maybe people won't even want a tree.
Well, that's it.
Better.
There are a lot of people that aren't happy about the trees there.
Especially if it's old and starting to.
Instead of putting trees.
Sidewalks,
Hey, why would you
are
don't care
outside
about
their
it?
homes, so when it
I got
starts
two on my
upbeat or sidewalk, they
And
get.
we had a situation on Evesham Road where the chief of police actually helped out to get a tree, the owner took that tree down, and then he fixed the sidewalks. But you're right, that was on his expense, or you would think that this is on our expense.
So that, but we're moving along with the design plans for that, and that was just an issue we have to deal with.
You could do a whole, you could get it like a community involvement thing with the kids and stuff for Arbor Day and have them do fundraisers to buy trees to plant around town.
To tree commission.
We did, no, we had a shade tree commission, we were almost there.
But you could do it as part of a Arbor Day thing, which is,
To do that.
yeah.
Well,
Which is
they
their fun.
plant over 200 trees, so remember up and down.
Maybe way back, I remember that.
Yeah, but, well,
It's my understanding that our office met with your IT guy, and he got it all set up with police, but we're missing the link of.
I think we had a meeting in public safety, and the chief is going to meet with Hart.
I have called, contacted Hart.
Okay, and you'll have some meeting?
Hart has no idea what software to use. So I'm asking Hart Bayshore,
Okay, we will,
I will get it, Bob.
we will.
We will get with some guys.
contacted Hart. Joyce gave me a book, and I said they can call me and get the book, they want to look at it.
They said, they met with us, I wasn't there, but they met with our architects out on site to get everything up and running, get the IP address all set up. So it's my understanding that they were on board with what was happening, but I will make sure we get all the parties.
CC everyone.
And we will get that. Covers, I don't know anything about that.
2 of the emergency lights, and you know, the cheap plastic fixture, the 2 little, like little eyeball lights, they're too easily hit, and the little plastic threaded fitting broke. So it's like a $2 piece of plastic to screw back in. But I think Public Works should just put a cover on it. Because I think we talked about it, I
I
think you
have
even
looked
said
everywhere.
that.
I have searched online. I don't know how else to describe them, other than like protective cages, and I can't find any supplier. I
Okay,
had my guys look.
if you think Munich can handle it, we'll work together, and we'll try to find it.
Local supplier.
Oh, we have them at the Harry Williams building.
I tried
For where the
Billows,
basketball-
I went everywhere, and I can't find it. And I know they have them,
They
I've
have-
seen them at other athletics
Gymnasiums.
Yes, and I cannot find them.
Okay.
I don't know where to go.
As long as Public Works is willing to put it up.
They'll put it up.
Okay, that won't be your part. And then, you guys met down at Payne Avenue, was there anything solution with Payne?
Yes, Nick Ritz is going to go out, clear the area, put stone, and this is all Mark's.
Oh, your recommendation?
Yeah. And then put some.
It was borough property, it was a borough
There's an easement through there.
There's an easement that runs through the guys.
resident complaint.
And it was just, there's a little sinkhole right at his fence, and he has a dog, and I think the dog's getting under the fence, so he's going to build back up. It's just, it's a small area.
Reed Avenue was another one.
Reed, a resident had complained, or concern with the head wall that's out there with the stream. But when we did the mapping in 2006, we had photos from there, and it hasn't changed significantly. It's in bad shape. It's something you're going to look at, long-term plans to get that head wall fixed, but it has been deteriorating.
There's no maintenance that needs to be done right now.
Where, on which side? If you're going down towards Columbus Bridge, on the left or the right?
From Cleveland?
Well, on the left-hand side, if you're going towards Columbus Bridge, on the right-hand side. Is it the house that sits there on the Reed?
It's between houses.
No, because there's that one house that sits.
Sits back.
Right, it's like kind of dark, it sits way back, it's on that side.
Yes, right between that.
Because the other side's an issue too.
Well, one time I think that
On the other
the
side.
police got the state to come and clean, but that was closer. Can you guys get the state to clean?
There's a lot of trash and all
There's
that.
trash, you say, what, needs to be done
Yeah,
again?
yeah, very
Is it
hard.
state or is it us that Reed Avenue would be us? I think I'm thinking about the.
That's been, that's discussed.
That's bad.
That was within the state.
I think all of them would go for a
But
long
we
time.
did point out things that, and not we certainly there's something. Yes.
So Green, Mrs. Turner goes to this point, so the last thing with that pump fence, you know, where the pump, there was no fence around it. Is that a public works?
I talked to Public Works about it, and originally Parks and Rec had said, Mike was just like, we're just gonna put a fence like chain link, and I go, why don't we try to enclose it so it's not visible at all?
Okay, some.
So I think at that point, Mike was, you were there, we were talking about like maybe doing even just something wooden that at least would kind of go in with the landscape a little bit better and not vinyl, because vinyl is great, but vinyl also when it gets extremely cold has a tendency to break if somebody hits it with something. It's not gonna be, you know, to me, as.
Okay, and look more woodsy
A
again.
little more woodsy, we'll get it stained, we'll protect it, so it's already, yeah, it's been discussed. I mean, we were kind of all.
I mean, these things can only be paid through either Rex or some public works, right? Parks and Recs can pay for all.
Parks and
no
Rec.
fence, $200 per
Parks
fence.
and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, pay for that.
Buildings and grounds. Anybody else have anything for engineering? And you report? Do your report.
Right into it. Well, one thing was, last council meeting, when we looked at the road opening ordinance, I said that Magnolia had adopted an ordinance that's a little bit tougher on making sure the repairs are done correctly. So I merged.
The water, everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I sent it out today, it's also included in my report, is what I'm recommending. I also passed it on to John Gunn because he wanted to see it, but just something to consider. It's a little more strict, it has a 5-year moratorium built into it, as far as if anybody wants to open a road that's been recently reconstructed. $5,000 permit fee, so it's going to try and
Discourage them.
That's it.
It's terrible.
and then if they are going to go ahead with it, they have to use infrared technology, so you don't have
Right,
to solve
right,
it.
right.
So if that's in that ordinance. The other thing it does is, in your existing ordinance, it only has a 6-month guarantee. We had 18 months for residents, 36 months for utility companies. We've seen utility companies come in, do a patch.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
that's,
constantly.
like I said, the current ordinance is 6 months. Usually if something's going to fail, it's going to take a little bit of time, within 6 months, so we'll do it 12 months or 18 months, whatever you want to do. But it's written right now, 18 months, so you can go through it, see what you.
Yeah, I think the draft is excellent. That's what was emailed very late to you guys. If you could look at it, we could do a first reading.
I did look at it.
You know, and John Dunn did get it because he did call over the weekend. There was an issue where someone was trying to dig up on Second Avenue, which we just paid. And he was able to make a compromise with the guy to match this, basically this ordinance. It's out Jersey Gas to do the infrared, or whatever it's called.
He was also trying to do it in parts group, so I'm not sure how he rectified it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but he was concerned.
But I think this blends the existing ordinance and the new one, and I think it does a good job. I think we did a job on this. Because a lot of these roads, we don't have any protected. Okay, so we put that as first reading?
Do you have anything else, Karen? Because I have a question. This situation at the bike path, at Third Avenue and the bike path, where we have the storm drain issues, right? My understanding is you go out and you said, leave it alone. That's what I was getting, because I went out and I met,
But 3 areas we wanted to fix right away. There was some areas where,
I'm talking about right off of Third Avenue where there's a giant, there's a drainage, I don't know what you guys are talking.
You didn't
third
think,
where we parked.
yeah, you didn't think that was much of an issue.
12 business right
Yeah.
there that needed to be addressed right away. But where they drain, we don't know, I don't know what, without doing survey work,
Okay.
we don't know what to do.
Well, they come in off the street, and then it's supposed to be like a swale, I guess, down the side. So I had John Gunn out there as well as Pat Moriarty discussing it, and John's feeling was if there was a way to cut across the path, to connect it to the one that's on the opposite side, because that is a drain that would drain it away. Because what's happening is it's clogged. And I've been addressing this issue since I got on council, because I have talked to them multiple times about cleaning it out, and it's to the point now that it's just beyond. They dug it out with the backhoe. They went in with the backhoe and pulled out everything that they could pull out. Earlier, they didn't damage any of the thing, but they pulled everything out with the backhoe to try to alleviate the problem, and it's only gotten worse.
If
People
you,
dumping it in into
No,
the-
it's not that. It's just, this is just a runoff from the street. The water comes in off of Third,
Okay.
and it's flushing down. Well, what's happening is because it's so clogged, now it's flooding that area. So it's creating a lot of standing water. So, yes, the water dissipates rather quickly, but it's an issue. And it doesn't seem to be, if you're heading on, if you're coming off of the Pike and turn onto Third, it's more on the right-hand side than the left. The left side, which is the part that goes out towards Clemens Bridge, doesn't seem to be the issue. It's the part on the right-hand side. That's where the clog is. That's where it's having a problem. And there's a runoff problem on that whole side, because the further down you get onto the bike path, it runs off into backyards. And that's where they've created those little makeshift swale things with
But there is a pipe down there that's supposed to be taken across, and they were gonna look into that to see if they can jet that out, because that could be an issue.
Okay, well, if they can jet it out, but I don't think that they can jet out the one that I'm
The
talking
problem is,
about.
once it goes back to the other side, was that around?
Fifth.
That was all closed, so they were looking at cleaning that out. So
Yeah,
that was
they've
a
got to
process.
do it, and I've been
That was my immediate
on them
recommendation, but
continuously.
Up at the other end, it's hard to look at and say what it needs, so we should probably get some survey shots and see if we can.
Because I know that I don't know if they had used the jetter to try to clean it out, but I know that they dug it out, because it was almost level at this point. Like, there had been so much silt and everything that had just laid in there that they had dug it out, so I'm not really sure what the situation is. I knew he went out, and of course, I wasn't getting a whole lot of, not a whole lot of
So you
feedback.
say you do nothing, wasn't
And that's what I'm like, I go, really? That's what he said? I go, I find that hard to believe.
Up at Third.
So there's some clogs that they should try to jet first, further
And we
down.
also discussed.
Well, the one's further,
The
the one further down can probably be jetted. This thing is beyond being jetted out. This thing is like seriously packed through. I mean,
that pipe needs to be replaced there.
I think it really does.
Where it drains, it'll drain here, but then there's a big, now the dirt, so it won't go past that. And then
Right.
there's another one.
And my
there's another
original question
continues
was,
there.
when the path had been put in, I know who was paying attention, I wasn't paying attention, when the path was put in, was there a swale created there with stone that ran to help as a runoff to try to?
And it's buried now, and it's
Yeah,
buried.
like you can see the remnants of something, but I don't really know if there was ever anything firmly in place, like, a stone.
You guys didn't design it.
No, and I don't think you did. And John Gunn was pretty emphatic about saying, like, no, I really don't think that there was ever anything like that in place. And I talked to Pat Moriarty was there also, and they said the same thing. They didn't really think that there had ever been, like, lined with stone.
Well,
It's
maybe
been
I'll
a
look at
long
it and
time.
see.
It's been a really
Maybe you
long
have to go down there
time.
one of the reasons one day and give us an idea.
It's not pretty. And we're getting complaints. The residents are complaining because it's
There's a
flooding.
problem.
That policeman's house is just taking all this dirt away.
Yeah, it's Ortiz, it's back to Ortiz.
Did you ever have a chance to look at the situation on Oakland and Bowers, the people who complained?
We were there too.
And you do the Bowers, the right of way, you take us through there, so we're looking at possibly finding them all with an improvement for that. We probably need to do some survey work, so what I'm gonna do is get a proposal put together for that, and then also for bike path, to do some survey.
Yeah.
There's some things that on the bike path, you can do immediately.
Yes.
Other stuff needs
It's bigger.
some investigation.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as survey, so I'm gonna do a proposal to the council.
And that's what Rich has been requesting, is a proposal, so we have an idea of the scope for cost. We can approve it, they do the work, and
Who owns
then,
that land there?
which one?
Where the railroad used to go?
We're working with the back.
No, that's further down by URY, that's not where the
That's what
bike
we're
path.
talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's
what we're-
Oh, yeah, oh, that's in progress.
We own Bowers, and it's a paper street that we own.
Right.
But then there's a easement Joyce, what's the name of the, well, not easement, that land that's been owned for,
Scarborough Construction.
yeah, this Hargrove Construction has it, and we've been foreclosing on it for, it's been 2 years.
So we're trying to see if we can do something in the Bowers right away.
Oh, Bowers right away would be the way to do it.
That would affect the residents, so that's, we'll put the poll together for that.
It's a shame.
It was just on board.
Hey, did you have that?
Poor plan.
The other thing you would want to talk about the years to ordinance.
Yes, we have them here. The planning board, Leah from box office designed originally from the master plan. She had drafted some recommendations. They went to the planning board. When the planning board made a few changes, now they're back to us. What we need to do is actually do a first reading. A little too excited to do it back in January. So now we have to publicly advertise these amendments. And what we have, do you want to?
I won't.
Okay, all right. We have an R3 zone is where we allow apartments, townhouses, senior living. That's the R3 in the borough. One of the problems is the zone has a permitted use, are those things, and townhouses is a permitted use. At the time, the council and the planning board failed to put together any kind of standard that said, well, if you decide to build a townhouse, they put standards for everything else, but didn't really for townhouses. To change the use of townhouses isn't really the way to go because it's what it is. Apartments, how different is an apartment from a townhouse? And so what this does is it sets the standards. It's from the planning board, it basically, it's, kind of uniform with the rest of the state. You can only have so many on a piece of property, certain design.
It's all your bulk, it's all your bulk.
It's all bulk.
That's the front yards, backyards.
So,
backs.
Joyce, did you get a chance, did you send this, I sent it out to everybody also.
Yes, yes.
Read it, it's very minor, it's a minor, one little paragraph change.
Which one are we talking about?
This is the townhouse.
Townhouse. I don't know what the percentage.
Yeah, and it makes a minor change. Now, we do have an application right now that was approved for 144 units. Problem is, that's only the use variance to say that you could put 104. He still hasn't shown a drawing showing how he would put 104. Because you still have to have sidewalks, you still have to have curbs, you still have to have roads, you still have to
Haven't seen
have
that.
driveways. We haven't seen anything, the size of the homes, those kind of things. So what this would do is if for some reason the applicant were to
I think we
back
should
away.
pass sooner than
Yeah.
later.
Absolutely, so we can, the problem is the advertising, I don't know how quickly Joyce can advertise, and we can have a public hearing.
Not have time, this is a zoning, so it needs 10 days.
It needs 10 days, so that won't happen till
Till August.
August. Yeah. It's a little late. But it's not, don't get me wrong, this would not affect the current application. That application was before the rule change. And the only thing I'm saying is that even that application is still subject to state rules. You can't do certain things that the state has put in for townhouses. The second one is, what we've talked about was the drive-through. This went back and forth with the planning board, and it's what they call conditional use. Leonard, you want to explain conditional use better than me?
Well, what a conditional use does is it keeps control in the zoning or planning board when there wants to be a development. So you just can't automatically say, okay, I want to do this, I just need a quick site plan and I'm done. No, it's a conditional use, you have to come in and come before the board and justify why you should be permitted to be able to do this within this particular zone. So it just gives you another step from a normal or permitted use of being able to control the development.
So you're allowed to put a drive-through in, but you got to meet the standards. So once again, this is more of a planning board issue. Leah wrote it off, you see there were some changes, they went back and forth on the changes to allow for some outdoor dining, to allow for the drive-through. But all this would, like for example, it said decorative fences, walls, or bollards. Well, that's been crossed out and said structural impediment. The idea that, if you have people sitting outside, well, it depends on where they're sitting. A fence may not work, you might need something bigger or better and things like that. So I think this is also 10 days then, right?
Well, no, this hasn't been introduced yet, has it?
Oh, then we'll have to introduce it.
Or no, this is, no, excuse me, I'm wrong. This is the one that was introduced. We introduced drive-throughs, correct?
We introduced drive-throughs,
But we
right.
did not introduce townhomes. So townhomes you could put on first reading. I don't think we did anything. with
Okay.
townhomes.
So we'll do first reading.
So first reading for townhomes, then we'll wait for the drive-throughs till the August.
So this will be first reading.
It was drive-throughs we did in January.
Correct.
But it went back and
So
forth.
that's the one that needs to be advertised for 10 days,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
All right, so, but then they'll wind up both being public hearings in August.
So go to the hearings, okay?
Now, can I ask you a question? When was townhomes, drive-throughs, something else? Signs.
Science is not done yet.
So, but weren't these sent, were these ever sent to the planning board for review?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the
And
changes are.
and after the changes were made,
Well, there was a little disconnect because there was a little disconnect between the planning board engineer, the borough engineer. They went back and forth.
And they kept saying they had to go back to council, and then they had to go back to planning board.
Yeah,
is
so
this
now it's-
okay as it is now?
It is okay as it
This
is.
okay as it is.
As
So
is. That was the email you sent on June 19th. I think you might have saw it. These are
So
as.
signs we're not dealing with now.
Signs, they're still chewing that. There was, Lee also
That was
did a
the other-
sign
that was the other
ordinance.
one that I had.
That's about 24 pages long, the definitions and
I
things
saw
like
it,
that.
yeah. I read it.
But the planning board was still just chewing on
Yeah,
that.
and just remember that once I advertise this for the public hearing,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're gonna, you need to make the changes before I advertise. If
I
not,
understand.
it's gonna cost us.
There are no more changes.
I'm talking about the signs.
We're not gonna bring in
The sign
signs.
is 24, this is gonna cost a few $100s.
I'm not gonna do the signs until the planning board is 100% done with them. Because they're talking about banners, they're talking about
Yeah.
streamers, they're talking about,
I saw it all, but we're still not even anywhere near it.
yeah. I mean, we're going from 2 pages to 24.
Yeah, we're not ready.
Was that the other thing?
The last thing I have is the generator for this building.
Okay.
We had an issue come up where the size of the generator for transfer switch we're trying to put in the electrical room will not fit from a code standpoint. There are certain clearances you need to maintain. So we have to move the transfer switch outside into the courtyard where the ESP transformer is sitting, between the Sally Ford and.
I thought that's where it was going to go in there.
We were trying to put it inside this building to try and keep the cost down.
Oh.
But now that it has to go outside, you have to get what's called a NEMA 3R rated cabinet, so it's weatherproof. So we have to pour a concrete pad out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So unfortunately, there's a $15,000 change order, which I have in here. Now, we have 10,000, built into the contract, we have some contingencies for it. So right now, the net
It's fine.
increase would be 58, 87 or something like that. But by code, we can't put it where we want to put it because of the size of it and clearance requirements.
Is that by
We looked
one
at-
or by a piece, the increase? Is it just the one?
Yes.
We had 10,000 sitting
No,
there.
I'm just.
So an extra
questioning.
58.
You never know, if they're more, I like to know the little facts.
That's all we know at this point of our potential changes. But there's a breakdown of what the cabinet itself, just the cost of it is, it's $5,700 just for the cabinet itself. And the concrete pad's $27.
What was the credit from the original credit? Yeah. Well, they were
Well,
put inside.
it still is inside.
Oh, so
It's
the other switch is just inside
It's
this?
inside the cabinet, it's weather tight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no, now, originally they had a $19,000 change order request, but we've negotiated back and forth, they were gonna bring in a crane to lift. I said, well, how are we gonna do it if it was going in the building? I said, we're gonna use a dolly. I said, well, then use a dolly for this too. So we got them down to 15,387. But we did look at other solutions to try and put it in the Sally Port, so you don't have to put it in concrete pad, but they have to run more conduit. You have to run double the conduit between the transfer switch and the
But then I'm gonna
services.
say we need to close that whole thing.
No, because
Yeah, it sounds like fencing.
Like the solid thing, so that it's not visible, because the way it's.
When the generator's there, she's saying that someone will close that, there's no, it's not the closed.
Well, the
it's not a
generator's gonna be
fence
where the-
in the
Right, the
closed.
generator's gonna be where the bus, I'm talking
buses.
about where the electrical's gonna be, we should close that area off, so it's not visible
Or it's a
anyway.
fence, it's
Right,
gated.
I know.
So it's-
We need that gate to be able to open.
Well, yeah, but I think we need something solid. We had
Okay.
kicked that around when we did the
Okay.
fencing for the boroughs,
We just-
to
we
close
just-
it so it wasn't
Because
visible.
of the clearances,
Yes.
we need that gate to be able to open
Oh, it will.
so that you can get access to this.
Yeah,
transfer
yeah, yeah.
switch.
Oh, yeah, it would.
As long as you won't be able to see all this stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
she wants to hide
It's
what's
visible.
there.
It's
Right, it's just, it's visible, let's just hide it behind, we can get a gate, just.
And the wire,
So that's,
I don't know what choice we have. I mean, this is something that was started 2.5 years ago also.
it's gotta be done.
It's gotta be done.
We have no generator. We just closed the borough.
Works for me.
We did it just.
We just did it a couple months ago.
So you'll put that on, is there any question? Rich, is that okay?
now, my question
Express
is,
my concern
concerns over how we're finding out about this after the fact already.
I don't
You would
know.
think that we would know what the code was before we embarked on the project, but we've already had the process.
It's a 3-foot clearance, is that the problem? You don't have 3-foot clearance? Or is it wrong, that's 3-foot? I
And
guess I.
the doors themselves, once we got shop drawings, the doors themselves require 48 inches to swing over one of the doors, and we just don't have that. So it's a code issue, and also the cabinet itself is just too large to access the gate.
Okay, we'll put it on. What else have you got? Don?
I've been on the council 6 months. Nothing that we vote on ever comes in on budget. In 6 months I've been sitting here.
Well, when you've been on council 6 years,
Yeah.
you'll still be able to make that statement.
No, I'm saying, how do we correct these problems?
Well, I agree, you know, it's all about the planning stage, but the planning stage is
No, I'm
tough.
not saying this, this is 21.
Well, sometimes stuff comes in lower, there are occasions where we've done very
Well, we
well,
approve it, then it comes back, it's more money to it. I don't
because
understand.
we're not dealing with finance, we're not going out and buying a table and chairs. Every time we dig a hole,
Or like the fencing, they start doing something and then the director wants.
I know something.
So it's,
Sad, add more to it. If everything is always.
and we're part of the problem, we are, because we'll figure something out further down the road, so we realize what the use is going to be. We say, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that.
Or a project was 5 years ago, and we're picking up on it, and finishing up the project now.
We can start meeting once a week, that might help.
Yeah.
Everybody will start
Yeah.
coming.
You let me know how that works out for
We-
you.
when it's coming.
There's two main issues.
Thank you, someone's coming for the Texas drive.
If I had employees that,
Oh, come on now.
they're spread very thin right now. There's a lot of grass cutting, there's a lot going on, and it's just, they're spread
Are
too
the
thin.
signs in or not?
As of the other day, they were not. They were not, they were ordered, but they were not in.
Think they'll be there by September when the kids
Oh my
are
God,
out of school?
if they're not there by the middle of July, I'm gonna have a problem.
Okay.
Haven't I?
Did they hire any extra?
No, of course we did
Cut
not.
the grass or
No,
not?
we did not, because we discussed it. but
When
we
you
never-
say that pronoun, they, we're they.
Well, I'm not in the meeting, so I'm saying
Never mind,
that.
says
But we're they.
I'm not there in the meeting, so.
No,
I'm
this is the
asking a
meeting.
question.
This is the meeting.
Now, you just have
No.
to meetings too on the side. I'm not there.
No,
I'll
always.
answer your question and tell you no, we did not. And I agree. It was an issue that I agree that should have been addressed, and it was not. It was
Okay.
brought up, and it was never addressed.
I'll bring it up.
Hire.
What's your suggestion?
It's too late now.
Well, with all the grass cutting and what they're doing, I see them around town, I drive around town. And the fellas can't be everywhere. I mean, they do pick up, they were picking up waste yesterday morning.
And coordinating that with the
I mean, they're all
residents is
over the
not a
place, they're doing their job, some guys are cutting the grass here, you know, with that.
But what is the, what is
What
the
are
what is the
we doing with the
proposal?
money
What's
that
the
we're getting
proposal?
for the real estate people or the people we're getting? Are we collecting money from them for the
Oh, yeah, I don't think we're getting anything, yeah, houses are still.
We just put the liens on them.
I have
Come to that.
I have not put a lien on in months, I have not been given anything. So if they're doing
Well, they've
any
been cutting the
repairing,
grass.
I have nothing. Are they cutting grass on people's
They are,
property?
they're doing at least 11 properties. that I
Well, no
know
one
of.
has given me any bills, all right.
That's what I'm talking about, because if you're making money on that, then I.
But you're not-
Yeah,
the
but they're not,
problem is-
they're
the problem is you're not collecting the
making money, that just,
They're
that
liens.
just sits
It's
against
property.
property.
They get sold at the tax sale.
All right, all right, one at a time.
There are liens on the property, so we
Yeah,
don't
we
collect
don't get
anything
money
until the
until they're
property's,
sold.
until it's.
Well, we eventually did.
Tax sale. We
Yeah.
brought in 15,000 last year for maintenance things.
How much?
15,000.
A lot of them.
Now, it could have been other issues also, but that basically,
Grass cutting, demolition.
There's some demolition.
whatever
but probably
the-
demolition. is the guy.
Whatever it was, no, we got that, we just spoke about today. so-
Right. We're on our- Analyzing our miscellaneous.
Well, let's go on with this though. You want to bring it up, you can leave if you need to, you done?
I'm done.
What, a million?
Anyone say- No, he's
I
got
wouldn't
to
know whether we're doing it or not, so.
But I mean, what's the proposal?
I think we should hire a few, like we usually do, for cutting of the grass and all.
I've been on council for 6 years, we have not hired anybody during the summer in the 6 years.
We've had people, yes, work extra people.
I didn't say we have, but what do you mean, how many guys? How many guys do we need to hire?
we've discussed this at length. I've discussed this with you before. We've discussed
Well, we
this.
have it already here, they can vote on it, and we can decide if we want to do it.
And what's the process that's gonna happen here? We're gonna vote on it, and then I'm gonna try to go through a hiring process to try to hire. By the time that's done, grass cutting season will be over. So this is.
What about labor?
it's a moot
What about
point.
labor ready?
This is a moot
What
point.
about labor ready?
I don't know.
Have you
This
seen
is a
that
moot
before?
point.
Come in every day and drop off residents. I mean, if we're willing
It's fine.
to supervise them to the point
I'm
where
not
they
in
don't
charge of
work out, we
personnel,
get rid
I'm
of
not on
them, then.
personnel. So that would be something that absolutely should be addressed by personnel.
Okay.
How
I'm
many
asking
do
you
you
right
want?
now, how many people do we want?
5.
5. Can you
How are we gonna supervise 5 people?
How are you gonna supervise?
I'm not attacking, I'm just asking a question.
Why can't we supervise 5 people? I have 8 people that cut grass currently.
So you just go to.
So what, if
pile
I
up
put
10 people
one-
in 2 trucks, I'm trying to understand how it will
I
work.
have multiple trailers now that they can go out, they can be dropped off at different locations, and we're not talking just about grass cutting, we're talking about when Patty addresses a pothole to me, there's somebody that can be out doing that while somebody else is cutting grass, while somebody's talking to me about why isn't this curb painted, or why aren't they taking care of this? There are multiple
Okay.
people that can be doing these jobs, if I have people that are senior people doing it while the other ones are out cutting grass.
Okay, we have 1 week. So before Tuesday, if we want to, let's come up with a very quick plan. I think 5 is it maybe the right number? I don't know. But if you got a quick plan, we have how many residents? I mean, people show up every single day looking for a job in Sunderland. You know, if we have a mechanism for day labor, you know, $9 an hour labor. But I think Rich has a good point. We bring 5
I
guys.
can't do,
You know,
we'll have the rec here.
we're allowed to hire seasonal people. We're allowed. We do it all the time. We have done seasonal people.
We did have.
Well, what the borough's done in the past is we've hired seasonal people, and we never let them go at the end of the season. That's the typical that
That's what you have to avoid.
and that's what we've not done. And so to just say we're gonna hire seasonal people, I think, once again, and I don't mean to be
There are
tennis.
always summer help programs in town. And if anybody's been here long enough, you all know that.
My
There were
son
always,
even worked in the
that's
summer
it, there were
program.
kids
I'm
that
not,
worked in the summer
fine, we
program.
might have done it 40 years ago, but how are we gonna do it right now?
They have to,
John and Lou were the
they have
last
to be a
2
certain
seasonal
age,
people.
but I
Yeah.
understand that, because they have to be a certain age to operate equipment, and
Well,
we're not
yeah.
talking about operating a
And they can
backhoe.
be trained, and they can be trained.
That's what I'm saying, this
It's
ship
just
is
getting
sailed
so
at this
strict on that.
point for this season. I mean, you're talking about hurry up again and get it done. It's like this ship is, I mean,
The ship
we're
is
well,
past.
it's in July, we're almost into July at this point. It's like, what, I mean, if I bring them in now, it's gonna be for what?
Well, do you
School
wanna-
starts in September?
But you're saying they're so far behind. If we have a list of what they're behind on, do we want to subcontract out the work that they're behind
Absolutely,
on?
you've talked about that many times.
You know?
Again,
But
falls
see,
under
the-
personnel.
But it doesn't, because there has to be a plan. If you sat there and said it's gonna take 6 hours to cut grass every Monday, and we bring in, 2 people for 6 hours to cut grass, that's a different way of doing it. I mean, that makes more sense. Hey, we hire 5 people. 5 people.
You're
we might-
asking me off the
might
top of
check.
my head how many people. I can't tell you. I'm not down there every day working with
Well,
them.
then we need the Public Works as a committee to get together. Call for, what's today? Today's Tuesday. By Thursday. By Thursday, if they don't know what they can't do by Thursday, we'll meet Thursday, come up with a plan. How are they gonna get it done? And what needs to be done?
So I'll meet with you and I'll meet with Mike.
You know? I'm not a public.
He's above Public Works. He's, him and Mike are Public Works. You're not Public Works, you're Parks and Recreation.
Oh,
No, no Parks and Recreation. Oh, yeah, you are. Well, then you should take care of it because you seem to have a lot of time.
I do.
Well, then there you go. You should run with it because I have a full-time job and I'm not able to. So you should.
Are you allowing me to do that?
By all means, feel free.
Are you allowing me to do that? Everyone heard that?
By all means, please do.
All right.
Council and myself can guide the process, it has to come from the management.
And you
of
hear what
Public
Mr. Wright
Works.
is saying, this is once again the point. Say that again, Mr. Wright.
Said while council and myself can guide the process, it has to come from Public Works. The management of Public Works needs to tell us what they need and for how long they need it.
And I
So
encourage you to reach out to Public Works and
And I
take
will.
care of it. Absolutely. By all means, please do.
I will, and I'll try. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna succeed. You do agree, it's tough,
I have no
you know?
opinion.
But I hear that there are some complaints, and how are we gonna get past these complaints? Okay, what else we got? Okay, next department. Next department, police. Police chief, permanent. We're gonna do that in closed
Closed
section.
session.
We'll do a closed session, that's okay, talking about personnel issues?
Yes.
We have more police, all police basically is all about hiring issues, so we'll do that in closed session. We already went over EMS billing. Finance department has once again asked to hire up to 2 employees to improve purchasing and accounts payable. It was discussed at the personnel meeting. We're going to once again try to get that accomplished this year. And Patty, we're at the parade. You want to talk about your public works and parade? Public events.
For public events, okay. The parade will be 4th of July. Oh, because other towns.
Other towns do it the day before, yes.
Lawnside has it a week before time. Actually, Lawnside has it on the 28th at 10:30 in the morning. So it will be on Friday, July 4th. At 9 o'clock, we'll begin the bicycle parade for Best Decorated. 9:30 will be the baby parade, and there are 7 categories this year. Free water ice from Anthony's Water Ice. And the parade will start at 1 o'clock. Everybody will meet, all my participants will meet at 12:30, Washington Avenue and Plaza Place. I will again need,
The booklet.
Oh, the booklet is in the process of being, it's produced, it's just been process of being printed. We have a lot of nice groups this year. We have about, I think, 6 or 7 mummers. We have the neighbors pipe and drum. We have hopefully our antique cars, calling antique cars. We'll have some antique cars there. And our fire, we send out invitations to all the fire companies in the area. Hopefully they'll bring an apparatus, one apparatus for our fire company. And 0 tolerance on the water stove.
What about throwing out candy?
I haven't said anything about candy. You know, the kids love that candy. I would love if they would, I have been asking that if they do throw out candy, if they would walk on the sides and more or less throw it into the crowd versus, you know, riding in a vehicle. But they will do that. I do want to try to get a few marshals on each corner, 1 person on each corner so that they can maybe control and make sure that no kids do run in the street, because they do. And, yeah, other than that, we have our, at 9:30, 6:30 starts in Barrington on July 3rd for their parade, and then they have their fireworks at 9:30 in Barrington on Thursday, July 3rd. I think that's about it. I'm hoping you'll all attend.
Did we contribute to the fireworks this year?
Yes, we did, $1,000 to the fireworks.
And we're sending an ambulance.
And we're going to be sending an
Ambulance for the crew, and also there'll be a
fire truck. And I think that's about it, and, does anybody have any questions? I've been communicating with my committee, so I did send you out.
Did you reach out to Mike on the water ice?
No, I was hoping to see him. I was going to ask him exactly how he got the water ice this year.
Yeah.
Well, I know I did reach out to John Ranieri, and John Ranieri is going to take over Bob's place in distributing the water ice and helping out there, because he's so involved in his string band and all his music, so that's great. And we look forward to seeing him. You are going to walk, and then we're going to run you right back to your group, correct?
Trying to get there.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Trying to get
We'll get you. We'll
Can I
get you.
get a book of ride with somebody?
You are going to ride with the mayor with, yes, the mayor, and you will be in the first car with Billy Sampolsky. You will ride up first, and then they're going to turn you around, and you're going to sit in air conditioning and watch the whole parade. And we will have a table like we did last year. And if you're okay, well, maybe, do you want to really sit in air conditioning, or maybe you want to come and sit with me?
I don't sit, she's out dancing.
If you can.
I'll sit.
If you can, yes, if you can sit with me, and I'll be distributing the checks to
By
everyone,
that
so.
time, I might feel a little
And
better.
after the parade,
So-
the DFW.
And after, thank you, I forgot that. And after the parade, we're asking everyone to come over to the VFW, and they will be barbecuing hot dogs and outside, and we'll have some refreshments. So, and the neighbors will be performing and entertaining us.
Does anybody have anything for Mike? You brought up Mike, you said,
Mike took care of the water rights last year, so he made some type of.
okay, but nothing on his report for this evening?
I don't have anything. No.
Okay. The only thing I brought up was obviously summer rec is getting started.
Yeah, 30.
The field maintenance and improvements, I think that obviously the fields have been turned over. I think he's working with Rich to hire, someone to at least put the fertilizer down. I think there's still a couple of benches, and then he's working on the pole barn, in case anybody knew. We haven't heard for the $25,000 recreation grant at this point. Did you help him submit that application, or?
Yeah. I didn't have to do a lot. Yeah, it wasn't before, but I think it's a lot or something.
Because there was, hopefully we're going to get 25,000 from the county. We had two
That's
bigger.
the pole barn.
Yes, and that pretty much finishes phase one, and then we decide phase two, which hopefully is parking and the drainage issues down there. The one thing just to make everybody aware of, our towing applications went out. We've only received one application. Len is in the process of reviewing it. The police department is doing their review, and hopefully we'll have this, we can maybe have this resolved by Tuesday night, as long as everything goes well.
You're gonna have it resolved.
Well, my work's easy, that.
I get it done. I'll have somebody get it done tomorrow. You just have to do a quick investigation.
And then two things before we go into closed session. Since the budget is right there, we've been talking about for a while bonding and what we're going to spend money on. So the two things that have been talked about a little bit, one more than the other, is obviously the trash truck purchase. So at this point, I was hoping to ask the Public Works Committee again to get together to come up with the numbers, a little bit of a plan, what vehicle would be sold or disposed of, how this would work. And hopefully we could introduce as early as October, November. Rich, is that right?
But it'll go on for next year.
Well, the whole process, I'm not sure that purchasing a fire truck is as long as anything. I'm not.
Oh, that's what.
A trash truck, how long a trash truck takes compared to it? I don't think it's quite as
How
long.
long does it take? I have no clue. We can't.
We haven't gotten that far.
Aren't they already there?
Not all the time. It's what you want on it.
And then the other thing that's
Sometimes you have
been,
to-
We turned it on specs, I turned it on specs, we have all the information, we turned that in.
so now we're hoping, well, we're gonna,
So like all the paperwork is really done.
Well, all the ideas of what we wanted, what we were submitting was done, absolutely.
so we have an idea on the cost. We have an idea on the cost, so we have pretty much, we know we have the money at this point, or we think we have the money.
Nothing happens until council passes the bond.
We still have to pass it, but there is enough money without raising taxes. The idea is that there is enough money to not raise taxes. And then the other thing that's been floated around a little bit, and I think Bob, we've been working, we're talking about getting parking on the Black Horse Park. It's been talked about for 7 years. The proposal that we have at this point is, once again, talking about the properties next door. Do you have any update on my conversation?
I just wanted to have the okay to go talk to him privately.
Well, we talked, but he wanted to talk more privately about, to start, the property owners next door, the idea is, the council wants to start to see what the property would sell for.
Bring it back.
That'll give us a better idea on the cost. And then the big question again would be, at that point, to authorize the engineer to draw up, or give us a proposal to draw up a
When you
parking.
say the property next door, you mean that house that's all kind of like boxed in?
We're actually-
Hair salon used to
We're actually
be.
talking about
Up to the
anywhere from
corner where
4
the
to 6
drugstore
properties,
was.
depending on how it lays out. So that there would be parking on the Black Horse Pike. The camera shop is closing at the end of the month. All the properties next door to us, all the adjacent properties next door to the borough are all empty.
Isn't there
And
dry
who owns
cleaners
them?
in there?
Who owns them?
The dry cleaners.
Is he still open? I thought he
Yeah,
was.
it's
Okay.
dry
So who owns them?
Third Avenue. South is
The main properties are owned by Mr. Dutsorda, owns 3 of the 6. And then there's other owners. I mean, the property next door to the building is owned by somebody from Philadelphia, I don't remember who owns right next door to us. But we'd have to go out and talk, figure out what it would cost. And then what it might do is,
Basically, it's demolition.
we'd be tearing it down, and then putting curbs, sidewalks.
First, you gotta figure out what's going to require them, so you need to get them appraised.
What's that?
You gotta figure out what's going to cost to require them, right?
Yes. Well, we looked at our assessed values to
You
give us an
eminent
idea.
domain?
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
Ken, we're not going to.
Can't.
Why?
Well,
Because we can.
Well, we can offer people money for it, you know.
Well, we'll get money with them in a joint meeting.
Well, why not negotiate first? Why would you force somebody to sell?
Well, that's why I said you want to get it, you want to,
What Bob's gonna do is make some conversation. Bob is gonna talk, as long as council is okay with this. It's a very preliminary at this point.
You want
'Cause
to
it
park
come-
and see the people come back.
Absolutely. Several years ago, we looked at the gas station. You remember that? Several years ago, we looked at the gas station down the street. That wasn't feasible. We looked at other properties. We've looked at other properties. This is just, once again, looking at other properties. It may be too cost prohibitive.
it's been for sale.
What's that?
The old law firm.
Yes.
And then whatever was right across the street from.
Well, Thatcher's now they've got somebody in there, and they're up trying to open that up as a daycare. The problem is that the owner of the property also owns the land behind it. And I think they have to come from the planning board because they need parking, because they want to not just make it a daycare, they want to make it a place of assembly. A place of assembly means you need more parking spaces than the daycare. So, I don't know, we weren't part of that because it was a use variance.
Yeah.
The mayor and I don't remember if they, I
They
don't
also
think they
have to
got.
pay the taxes,
That's what kept happening, they kept not paying their taxes, so
Yes.
not being
and
heard.
it's still not paid.
They're still not paid.
So every time they come to the meeting, they're booted out. Because they don't do it. And then, let's go into closed session. We want to do our public, good and welfare first? We're going to do our good and welfare first, in case anyone wants to speak at this point. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing no one, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion. Do I have a second? All in favor? I need a motion to go into closed session.
For the purposes of.
Make it-
I make a motion to go to.
I second.
All in favor, to go into closed?
And I second that, so moved.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.